among Filipinos, 68% are unfamiliar with anything that has to do with political parties. No? So among most Filipinos, around 68% are unfamiliar with political parties, while only a third or 32% express their familiarity. And by political parties, we use the definition provided by the proposed by Republic Act 7491, no? Which states that political parties are organized group of citizens advocating an ideology or platform, principles, and policies for the general conduct of government, and which, as most immediate means of securing their adoption regularly, nominates and supports certain of its leader and members as candidates for public office. Now, who are the Filipinos who express familiarity with political parties? In terms of geographic location, the National Capital Region is the only area with more Filipinos expressing familiarity at 52%. However, this is only a marginal difference compared to those unfamiliar at 48%. Most Filipinos outside the NCR region, 77% in North Luzon, 66% in South Luzon, 64% in Visayas, and 74% in Mindanao are unfamiliar with political parties. No? So, if you notice in NCR, the gap between those who are familiar and unfamiliar is not that wide. No? But compared to the rest of the country, no, the gap, no, between those who are familiar and unfamiliar is really quite wide. No? So aside from NCR, South Luzon and Visayas are the next areas with a narrower gap between those familiar and unfamiliar. No? 30% versus North Luzon and Mindanao's 50%. We also found that a majority of Filipinos are unfamiliar with political parties in both urban and rural areas. No? Moreover, in urban areas, almost 40% of Filipinos are familiar. However, only marginally. Okay. In terms of familiarity on political parties per age group, while majority of those aged 18 to 24 years old are unfamiliar with political parties, they have also the narrowest gap between those familiar at 46% and unfamiliar. Okay? So while majority of the respondents are unfamiliar with the concept of party politics, among the youth sector, the gap between the familiar and unfamiliar is not that wide. No? Older Filipinos tend to be more unfamiliar than familiar with political parties.
How important are these summits? Especially now na, of course, malapit na elections, in a few months na lang, sa filing na lang mga certificates of candidates. How important is it, especially sa mga partido?
Yes, it is important because if there's one thing that we miss in the early years right after the EDSA revolution is that there were vibrant civil society, NGO, people's organization participation together with the mainstream government bureaucracy and political parties. So, right after the EDSA revolution, most political parties that emerged were vibrant and they behaved and acted like real political parties, holding party conventions, setting up their party institutes, and holding political education trainings. But sadly, after several decades, the institutionalized version of political parties have dissipated, and what we have now are simply flags of convenience, vehicles for personal or familial political interests.
Parang parties by name only.
By name only. So there's a need to really reintroduce organized and institutionalized political parties. And of course, there's always that issue of the role of political clans, political families, or what we call dynasties. If you have, and based on the statistics or study of Ateneo School of Government, if 70 to 80% of all your elected officials come from political dynasties, can we still call it a representative democracy, right? So it's akin to political monopoly or even political oligopoly. So you need to introduce competition even within the political market. So that's the reason why the vehicle for this are political parties. There's nothing wrong with families being part of politics for as long as they play the game within the boundaries of real political parties.
Itong mga programs na yung ginagawa ng Participate, how important it is for people to be more aware of the multi-party democracy in the country?
You know, a gathering like this, gathering of minds, of ideas, is very important simply because kailangan kasi ng Filipinos ng yung mabibigay niya, ma-express niya ang kanyang sentimiento, ang kanyang kalooban, ang kaisipan. Yung mga ganitong klaseng gatherings, yan ang paraan para makapag-express sila. It's not really about one being popular and the other one not. It's really about coordinating, helping one another. And so again, this kind of activity or gathering is a must in a democracy.
Nakita nga sa survey kanina ng Participate commissioned by WR na Filipinos would like to join a political party as long as nasa puso nila nasa kanilang pananaw or yung kanilang idealism. Do you think po ba kailangan po ng mga ordinaryong Pilipino na makiisa or maging part ng isang political party?
Hindi ko ini-endorse, but of course, magiging napaka-importante lang sa mga kababayan natin ang political parties kung yung ideals, yung pinaglalaban, yung platform, ay yun ang gusto ng mga mamamayan. Hindi tamang motherhood statement lang. Sa akin palagay, kinakailangan yung political parties maging aksyon din sa kung ano ang pangangailangan ng mga kababayan natin. Yung bang pwede ka makisama, yung bang parang may brotherhood, may sisterhood, sapagkat you belong. Pero kung sinama ka lang doon para lang pandagdag boto, alam at ramdam ng mga kababayan natin, madali lang silang aalis at pupunta sa iba o kung hindi man, magsasawa na lang na sumali sa isang political party.